Russia forced to delay its offensive again as Ukraine wins strongest EU report in years. Speaking from one of Ukraine's forward positions, President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Russian troops have once again been forced to postpone their plans to capture Pokrovsk and Dobropilya in the Donetsk region. He called every Russian loss on this front a contribution to Ukraine's ability to defend its people and independence. Zelensky also commented on the European Commission's latest report on Ukraine's EU membership bid, calling it the most positive in 3 years and a source of motivation for all Ukrainians. He said the document shows that even under wartime conditions, Ukraine continues to move forward toward EU membership.
It is symbolic that today we have had truly the most positive European Commission report in 3 years, the strongest result for Ukraine in 3 years. This gives all of us, all Ukrainians, even more motivation, as Europe recognizes our joint efforts. Ukraine is doing everything to gain EU membership, even in wartime, even amid the toughest battles. Our state keeps moving forward, which is absolutely unprecedented across Europe.
Dictator Putin boasts about Russia's unlimited range nuclear missiles. Putin is again praising Russia's newest weapons, the Burevestnik nuclear-powered cruise missiles and the Poseidon underwater drone. At an event in Moscow, he said that the Burevestnik has surpassed all other missiles in range and accuracy, and that Russia is already working on an even faster hypersonic version. He also announced that Russia's heavy Sarmat intercontinental missile will go into trial combat mode by the end of the year, with full deployment expected next year. Western experts say these systems are still experimental and could pose serious safety risks because of the nuclear technology they use. It's a familiar pattern, first intimidation, then denial, as the Kremlin tries to project strength abroad and calm fears at home.
Our country does not threaten anyone. Russia, like all other nuclear powers, is developing its nuclear potential, developing its strategic potential. Everything we're discussing now is work that has long been announced.
The U.S. government shutdown has now become the longest in the country's history, surpassing the 35-day record from Donald Trump's first term. Federal agencies stopped working after Congress failed to agree on a new funding by the end of September. The impact is growing as social programs, including food assistance for millions of Americans, remain frozen. About 1.4 million federal employees, from air traffic controllers to park rangers, are either on unpaid leave or working without pay. The Trump administration has warned that if the crisis continues, staff shortages could lead to chaos at airports and the closure of parts of U.S. airspace. Democrats say they will vote to end the shutdown only if an agreement is reached to extend healthcare subsidies. Republicans insist that healthcare can be discussed only after Congress votes to reopen the government. Russia tricks African women into working at drone factories. Russia has been luring women from across Africa with promises of construction and service jobs, not only to force them into working on military drone assembly lines once they arrive. According to Bloomberg, more than 1,000 women have been brought to the Alabuga Special Economic Zone in Tatarstan, one of Russia's main centers for producing Shahed 136 drones. One of them, 23-year-old Adau from South Sudan, said she expected to work as a crane operator but ended up at a drone factory instead. She and other women were made to sign non-disclosure agreements and forbidden from telling their families what they actually did. Adau described harsh and unsafe conditions. Chemicals used to paint drone bodies burned her skin, and most women couldn't afford to leave or fly home. She said she was promised $600 a month but received only a fraction of that after deductions for rent, transport and training. Intelligence reports cited by Bloomberg say Russia has launched over 44,000 Shahed-type drones this year to Ukraine, 4 times more than in 2024, and plans to produce up to 79,000 by the end of 2025.
The South African government is actively investigating reports of foreign programs that recruit South Africans under false pretenses. The South African government is yet to find any credible evidence that job offers in Russia are inconsistent with their stated purpose. However, the government has noted the alleged recruitment of youth by the Avdiivka company.
Russia upgrades Soviet-era bombs to hit 200 kilometers into Ukraine. Russia has begun using jet-powered glide bombs, retrofit from Soviet-era dumb bombs capable of reaching up to 200 kilometers. Targets in the Odessa, Mykolaiv and Poltava regions were hit in October for the first time, according to the Financial Times. Previously, these weapons only reached about 80 kilometers. Some versions include cheap Chinese-made turbojet engines, and the bombs are launched from Su-34 jets flying well behind the front line, reducing pilot risk. Experts call them cheap substitutes for cruise missiles aimed at Ukraine's energy and military infrastructure. Ukraine's interception rates are already slipping from 39% in summer to just 6% for missiles in September, and air defenses are now stretched even thinner. EU and Belgium clash over how to use frozen Russian assets for Ukraine. Top EU and Belgian officials are meeting this week to end a political standoff over how to use Russian frozen assets to help Ukraine. The European Commission wants to use around 140 billion euros of Russian state funds, now citing in Brussels-based Euroclear as a loan for Kyiv's recovery. Belgium, however, is holding back. Their prime minister fears that if Russia sues to get its money back, Belgium could be forced to pay. He's asking for stronger guarantees that his country won't bear the risk alone. At the moment, EU sanctions on Russia must be renewed every 6 months. That means any pro-Kremlin state, such as Hungary or Slovakia, could block the renewal and potentially unfreeze the money. Belgium wants to remove that veto power before agreeing to the plan. The European Commission warns that Ukraine faces a major budget shortfall by spring if the deal isn't reached soon. Without access to these Russian funds, EU governments would have to cover the gap themselves, something few countries are willing to do after years of pandemic spending. In short, Brussels is racing against time to unlock Moscow's frozen billions, but internal EU politics could delay the support Ukraine urgently needs. That's all for now. For more content, please subscribe.